So,
Hey, Sam.
hi, how are you?
How are you? Good. How are you?
I'm great. Very excited to do this
Yeah, so am I. Yeah, this is great. Thanks for contacting me about this. I'm super excited. Really appreciate it.
because you are my first, like I told you, this is my first director interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, outside of the vertical world, what do you do?
I work for like a IT company. I build like websites, logos, flyers for like events and stuff.
Also, like a graphic designer kind of
Yeah.
thing. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. How long have you been doing that?
Um, as my job for now, 5 years,
Oh, cool.
and uh, like unofficially, because it's also my hobby.
Oh, that's awesome that you get to do your hobby for a job. That's great.
Uh, Unofficially, my whole life.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I used to dabble in a little bit of graphic design. I was never really good at it, but I really enjoyed doing it.
What was your first interest? Was it what you're doing, or
So, are you asking like what did I used to do?
yeah?
Uh, I've done almost hello cheese. This is cheese.
Mm, that's cutie.
Yeah. I used to work in the food and bev. So I when I was 14 years old, I started washing dishes at a little Greek restaurant, and I moved up to a line cook, and then I worked in restaurants for a long time. I ended up managing a restaurant and bartending. Um, that's how I actually got my first job in the industry. I was bartending at a small little bar in South Carolina, and a production office for a movie set up right next door. And it was a small little movie called Walker Payne with Jason Patrick, Sam Shepard, Drea De Matteo, some big hitters back then. And they got me a couple days on set and told me to move to Chicago. And I moved to Chicago and started working on a bunch of movies there, like Dark Knight, Public Enemies, Wanted, a bunch of TV shows. And then from there, I moved back to South Carolina, worked on a show called Army Wives. Then I did a pilot in Atlanta for a show. They took me up to Detroit and I finished the whole season. Um, then I moved out to Los Angeles, worked on one show real quick, and then moved back to Atlanta. And I worked on a show called Necessary Roughness, and then Teen Wolf and the Vampire Diaries.
Cute.
Uh, what's that?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
literally my favorite show, Vampire Diaries.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I day played on that show as a camera assistant. It was a lot of fun. I still keep in touch with some of the people on that show. Um, and then I moved back out to LA for the final time. Worked on a bunch of shows, and then I ended up working on Modern Family for about 6 years, Newsroom, and Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Those are some of the big shows that I had worked on. And then COVID happened, and I became an architectural photographer for a little bit. And my buddy Austin, that runs Snow Story, the production company, um, gave me a call, and he was like, "Hey, we're doing these vertical soap operas," and I'm like, "I know exactly what you're talking about." Uh, for some reason, well, I'm a huge Lifetime fan. Like, I love Lifetime movies and Hallmark movies. Those, it's an ironic, like, guilty pleasure. Like, I love those movies. They just make you feel good, and then you know the suspense that they had and stuff like that. I just really I dug it all. And then somehow in my TikTok and Instagram algorithm, these vertical soap operas just started to pop up, and I'm like, what is this? This is amazing. I have to know what is going on. I hope I can work on these one day. And I was trying to figure out how to do it. And then Austin called me and he's like, "Hey, we're doing these vertical soap operas." And I'm like, "I'm in. I'll PA. I don't care. Just get me on one of these." And it ended up being that I worked as a camera assistant. I was pulling focus. And then we started getting more and more orders to do more movies. So they asked me to start operating, and then we got more orders. And then I started being a DP, director of photography, and I got to be, pretty close with the clients, and they knew how much I loved this format, and they gave me a chance at directing, and that's when I directed "Freed by the Sexy Farmer" for Real Short, and then here I am today. Just finished up CEO in the Country Girl.
Yeah. Uh, I think you right away answered also a few of my questions.
Perfect.
Um,
And to let you know, I'm so glad I didn't ramble. Like I gave a complete straight answer for the first time. I had an interview yesterday with somebody with Snow Story, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm going to talk off, and it's just going to. I'm so sorry that you're going to have to edit this."
oh, it's okay. For people that don't know you, can you tell maybe a little bit about who you are, what you do on Verticals?
Yeah. So my name's Corey Gibbons, also known as Coco Beware. I direct and I DP vertical soap operas. Um, and that can entail so much. Coming in from the beginning, I've been working on these vertical soap operas for about, I don't know, I guess next in 2 weeks, it'll be 2 years that I've been working on vertical soap operas. And my first one being Pregnant by My Ex's Dad. Um, and through the years that we've been working on these, just developing certain ways to help speed up the process and do our best to make it more traditional filmmaking wise. But at some point, you have to forget some of the stuff that you learned and do what you can to make it interesting and still fun to watch. Uh, and so that right there, the part of the creative problem solving of why we got into, when I say we, I mean filmmakers in general.
Mhm.
A lot of us got into this because we love not only telling a story but creative problem solving. you know there's something that needs to be done, but we can't really do it a certain way. How can we do that? And that's just one of the most beautiful things about filmmaking is creative problem solving. And I it's something that gets me excited every day when I go to set, every day.
Is it easy for you to solve a problem?
Depends on the problem. uh but sometimes it can be. I've always been the person that takes things apart to figure out how they work. Sometimes they don't get put back together, and sometimes it's better than it was before. Um, but to your question, do I am I good at problem solving? I can be. I can be. But again, depending on the problem, I can be a pretty good problem solver. And hopefully, you can never figure out the problems that we have on set in the final product.
And what is you said something about storytelling, right? What is your favorite thing about it, or favorite story you like to tell?
The comeuppance. When originally, in the idea of theme, comedy was you come from a low point and go to a high point, and drama was you from a high point to a low point. Uh, and when I say comeuppance, it's in the idea of a comedy where you come from a really low point and you find yourself and you build yourself and you become a better person because of it. I think we can all learn from those kinds of things, and to see somebody grow from a bad point in their life and being able to build yourself and trust yourself and know how to love yourself and become a better person become of it because of it. To become a better person because of it is one of my. It hits me different, um, because it's, to me, I tend to I bring myself down sometimes, and when we watch these kinds of movies, it helps us believe in ourselves, and
Mhm.
in some sort of minuscule way we can connect to these characters and are like, that's me. And I want to say that doing these is one of my favorite things. And any of the stories, no matter how crazy and absurd they are, we all find a little piece of us in them.
Which project that you have done is for you the most memorable or special?
I think each one of them holds a special point or a special part in me. Um, I probably would say, uh, right now, the first and the last one that I've done. The reason the first one means so much to me, being freed by the first one and the last one that I've directed. Uh, Freed by the Sexy Farmer was such an amazing opportunity for me. I've been in filmmaking since 2005, so that's almost 21 years, and dreaming of being in filmmaking for almost all my life. Um, having having the lead on a show is something that you just can't put down. Like, not only do you have it, but so many people put trust in you to actually use your vision, use your choice, and your voice. Uh, there's just something so special about that, and I owe a lot to the people that put me there. Um, everybody at Snow Story and the people at Elastic Heart from Real Short, like, putting that trust in me. I'll never be able to thank them enough for that. And with the last one with CEO and the Country Girl, that was a wild ride. Uh, we did a lot for what we had. And again, Snow Story put a lot of trust in me and being able to make it happen. And I want to say it's been a pretty good hit.
Me.
And just those parts made it very memorable. But every vertical that I've done has a very special place in my heart. Like, the crew that I work with, hands down, some of the best that I've worked with. The actors, they're ready, they're happy, and they love me. Um, no, they are great. They come in ready to go. They know what they're doing, and they're becoming such a key piece to. No, let me take that back. Um, the actors are so wonderful, and they can make the day so much. they can make the day roll so easy because they're ready to go, and they also love what they're doing, and that's what I love about this format is everybody's in it. You know, if all the pieces align, everybody's having a good time, everybody's treated right, we're all there having a great time. And that's what I strive to do because we're all creatives. There's no reason anybody should be, you know, angry. We're all having fun. We're all using our imagination. You know,
Mm.
this is this is something that we grow up to be. You know, we're all playing pretend. And don't tell me that you don't like playing pretend, especially for a living.
I think everyone does in a way.
Yeah.
Did I see right that you have done the three projects that Mariah and Adam have done together, that you were also a part of it?
Oh, Mariah and Adam. Let's see. That was Pregnant by My Ex's Dad.
Yeah,
It was uh the
presidents.
what was the werewolf one?
Uh,
Alpha.
Alpha's Regret or something.
Yeah, I think we called it Alpha. We just called it Alphas as a production name. I can't remember what we called it. And I slept with the president, pres the president's assistant or something like that. Yeah. So I was an operator AC on Pregnant by My Ex's Dad, and I was an operator on the president's assistant or whatever it was called. And I'm sorry I can't remember. Especially the names are so great.
Yeah.
How can they not stick in your head? Um, and then Alphas, I was the DP on Alphas. That was my first werewolf job. I love the genre, the werewolf genre. It's crazy. It's so good. It is so good.
It's really enjoyable. Can you maybe explain for people that don't know what a DP does?
Oh yeah. So the director of photography, cinematographer, videographer, lead cameraman, whatever you'd like to call it. What we typically do is we find out how to create the director's vision. The director has a certain shot, right? He
Mhm.
wants uh just a walking shot or something very dramatic. We have to set up the camera angle. So I'm not going to move my camera because it might fall. So we want to do a slow push in. So we make sure that's right. And any type of slow motion or anything like that, we have to design the shot so it makes sense. Make sure the angles and the composition are correct. Um, And then the most important part after you figure out what the shot is how to light it. Unfortunately, I didn't light this scene very well today. Um, uh, but what you typically want to do is you want to see the actor, right?
Mhm.
So you put in I guess I would say my key is over here right now on this side, and that's my main source of light. And that's going to light your subject, right? And then what you want to do is you want to use other ideas of light to help paint the scene. And depending on your style or depending on your genre of film is really going to help determine how you're going to light it. And also in this format, it also depends on the platform that you're putting it on. Some platforms want a soap opera look, and that's just going to be light from everywhere. So you want to see every piece of the actor, every piece of the actress, and everything. You don't want any contrast. And contrast would be kind of like what it is right now. I've got light on this side and I'm dark on this side.
Mhm.
So taking all those kinds of ideas and being able to be like, okay, so if I want a little bit more light, I need to have a bounce on this side, so I put light on this side to kind of round out my face and then have a light back here, as there is one now, to create a nice little halo to separate myself from the background. And in that kind of way, adding the halo, and then you would put, like kind of like how a ring light works, is you would put here right on your face, because there's something special when you have a little tiny twinkle in your eyes. You know, that adds life. Because right now, I wish I had. Here, let me turn this on. Um, can't really see it in my eyes, but it's something about just rounding the light and making sure the scene is lit. And I like to say paint. You want to paint light all over the place, so it's a little bit more interesting. If you didn't have light, it would be dark and it would just be
Yeah.
radio.
I'm also surrounded by a lot of lights around me.
And also, another thing that is a big factor for a DP, would be blocking, and that's how the actors move around the scene. Uh, you know, as we're shaped in this portrait format, it changes everything, because when you're shooting 16 by 9 or traditional filmmaking, you can move around a lot. You know,
Bigger.
you have this to move around, right?
Yeah.
But when you're in the vertical world, you tend to just kind of walk in and stop. But you know, we want to kind of make that more interesting, so you figure out blocking to help the actors hit where the light is, and you know, make it a little bit more interesting. That, you know, we call it a do-si-do. So what'll end up happening is the actors will just swap their marks, and it makes them feel like they're walking around the room to give it a little bit more movement. So there's little things that you have to think about to really motivate movement in the scene. And I would say, other than the director saying how he wants the scene to move, uh, the DP would help finesse the blocking and paint the scene.
I think I already asked which genre you love to direct, or did I not?
You asked me what story I like to tell,
Yeah.
but not, yeah. Um, I truthfully, I would love to direct a true action vertical. I know that, let's see, we did, I don't, I don't know if there like is like a true action vertical yet, like a Die Hard or a Speed or Lara Croft, Tomb Raider kind of movie. But I think that would be a lot of fun. I know that there's some sample. When I was doing Freed by the Sexy Farmer, our stunt coordinator had just finished, what was it, Gun Runners for Christmas? There was one where it was the scene that he showed me was the guy sneaking into a house, and there was a huge fight sequence, and it was all one take on a steady cam kind of thing. And it looked amazing. There was guns, and there was like fighting, and you know, all this stuff. And I was like, going back to the whole creative problem solving, I would love to try and solve that problem, because that just seems like a logistic nightmare. But it looked a lot of fun. The scene that he showed me, it looked great. So yeah, I think if I had a choice to direct one, I think it would be an action movie for sure.
And then like the whole story, a lot of action, or just a couple parts.
Uh, for it to be a hit, I don't think it could be a full action movie. Um, it would definitely have some nice parts of action, but I think you still need
Yeah,
the the love story, and you know, of course, you know, it's not a Hollywood movie unless it has a love story.
that's true. Um, you
Or even, oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
do you have any advice for someone who wants to do like what you do?
Come out and do it. Just do it. What is what is the Shia LaBeouf meme? Do it. Just do it. Um, I stood in for Shia LaBeouf on a movie back in Chicago. But yeah, find your way, make your own. You know, it's possible. Uh, when I was working in the industry on the Hollywood side, working in film and television, uh, there would always be PAs that come in, and a PA is the production assistant, basically
Mhm.
the the baseline of the Hollywood industry. It's so you can figure out what you want to do. Do I want to do sound? Do I want to do camera? Do I want to direct? Do I want to produce? Um, they're like, I really want to, I want to be a director or I want to be a TP. And I'm like, go out and do it. Because what's going to end up happening is you're going to get sucked in and you're going to work your whole life and always wonder what would happen. And that's kind of my story is I started PAing and I worked my way from the bottom. I my first day on set, I forgot a rain jacket and I had to wear a trash bag. Uh, yeah, it was pouring rain and then I didn't have a rain jacket or an umbrella, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, welcome to set," and he handed me a garbage bag, and that was my rain jacket. Um, and that was one thing that made me fall in love with that. I was like, "Oh, that's genius. That works." Creative problem solving. Um, but I got sucked into the work, and I was working for the next job, and I never created my own content. Uh, and at some point, I finally am. But that's 21 years later. Uh, but go out, create, write, produce. It Get your friends together, make a movie. It you have We all have these little devices
Yeah.
that are great. You can make a movie with an iPhone. They did it with the new who is it? The new zombie movie. I can't remember the 28 Days Later
Yeah,
world.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, that was done. A lot of it, I think, was done on the iPhone. You can create movies with your iPhone. Don't let anybody tell you different. It doesn't matter the camera, it doesn't matter the lens. It's the story that makes the movie. Go out and do it. There's nothing stopping you. And if you want to find backstage, find actors access, find Craigslist, and find little ads there. There's always people looking for work. Go on LinkedIn, go on Instagram, go on TikTok. There's always people looking for help. Find out what you want to do. Do you like clothes? Do wardrobe. Are you good at makeup? Join the hair and makeup squad. Do you like acting? Go act. Go join your local theater. Go get involved. There's always people looking to create, and creatives love other creatives. Go out there and find them.
Yeah. This next question is not about the vertical space, but what do you like to do when you're not busy on sets?
um, so what do I like to do when I'm not creating? I love cooking. I love tinkering with stuff. Uh, Unfortunately, right now I don't have any big projects. But I was rebuilding motorcycles. I was working on some vintage cars. Um, Woodwork. I love. I love working with my hands. I'm a creative to the bone. I'll find a piece of lumber and I'll build a table. Uh, I I used to game a lot. I still kind of game. Um, uh, and luckily, that was a hobby that became a job for a little bit. I was producing video games, which was a lot of fun. Um, Anytime, in the video game space, do you happen to play video games?
Yeah.
So, Addicts, where it's basically a movie inside the game and the characters are talking to each other. Uh, I was producing those segments and doing a lot of the voiceover. I was producing the voiceover, getting actors together and hiring directors and stuff like that. I was working on games like Destiny, Guild Wars,
Cool.
uh, Fallout. There's a lot of games that I worked on. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I do whatever I can to stay creative. I've got a 6-year-old girl, uh, and I'll go out and we'll take photos together. We'll try and make movies if she has the attention span for it. Uh, let's see, playing with her and you know going out as family and doing that kind of thing. Just whatever I can to live, you know, live life.
Do you have a favorite uh, food you like to cook?
Favorite food. Um, Stuff that I've never cooked before. Like, do I have like a staple that I cook? I would say I love baking bread. And I love when I can. I haven't cooked it in a while, and maybe I should. It doesn't fit my wife's diet because it's a little extra, we'll say. It's very rich. Um, it's a southern cuisine, and it's called shrimp and grits. And it's basically hominy or like a corn grit
Oh, yeah.
and and shrimp with a tesso ham gravy. And I love it, but man, you can't eat too much of it.
Sounds still delicious. Which of the projects that you were a part of would you recommend to a fan that a fan should watch?
Any of the ones that I directed.
So the Feed Farm
uh,
one and the Country Girl.
so actually, you know what? Of all the projects that I worked on, this is a tough one because I can't say any of the ones that Casey Jackson directed. Me and Casey had this ongoing thing. Um, uh, no, man, it's really hard to nail like which one I would love people to watch. I mean, I want to say CEO and the Country Girl, but I think that's kind of a cop out, and I never like voting for myself. Um, let's do one that steps outside the box. Okay, how about a top three?
Yeah, that can also.
Okay, I'll do a top three. Um, I would say, what was it? Good Girl, Bad Biker.
Oh, with Jess, you mean Jessica
Uh,
Jacoby? Yeah.
Yeah, Jessica Jacoby. Unfortunately, that is a Casey Jackson picture. Um, but it's a fun watch. Uh, and I would say Heartstrings and Lies, and that was Kristen Brancaccio. And something something felt different about this one, and it is one that I directed. It was a nice story that it had a couple humiliations, but there was no violence in it, and you saw a nice growth of character. Would be the CEO's Forbidden Code, and those were all on. I'm pretty sure those are all on drama shorts.
Yeah.
Um, those three just hold something special, uh, because you really saw growth in a lot of those characters. And not saying that it doesn't exist, but I think a lot of that doesn't quite exist in this format yet, where we see, we see how the characters go through these situations
Hmm.
and they handle the situations great, but you typically don't see a lead character build, and there's not a lot of character development. And I feel in these three movies there is a lot of character development
Yeah.
that's hidden, and I kind of like that. um like I said, I love a good story, and i I don't like I like a good story, and I like to see people grow. And I think in these three movies, we can see a lot of the characters grow big time.
Yeah. Okay, the next you already answered this. Um, I think the one after that you also answered. Maybe not. What the most challenging was as a director.
The Pack Doctor. The Pack Doctor was one of the most difficult things that I've done. Um, and not so. Not only was it interactive, and being interactive, it does add more time to the schedule because there's extra stuff to
Mhm.
shoot. But it was the first time that I had integrated a pipeline with AI. So I had never, I had messed around with AI, making silly videos, whatever, using up my credits for no reason. Um, but I had to be able to shoot it and integrate AI into the shot. So instead of using, traditionally we would do VFX, and we'd have a whole VFX unit come in and shoot some special things and use this little orb to understand the whole space. Uh, Figuring out how to shoot for AI and shoot 15 to 20 pages a day was very difficult. Luckily, Rebecca and Aaron were on top of their game. They came in ready to roll, and they were always ready for direction. So, luckily, I had a team that was ready to do anything from the PAs all the way to the actors. It was me that had to figure out, okay, I've got a wolf fight. How am I going to have these people transform into wolves and then fight and then come back into human?
Mhm.
So trying to figure that out and uh, understand how AI recreates a scene. Now, today, literally today, I know that it's a lot easier than it was almost a year ago. Like now, character consistency is so much easier with the programs that they have. Um, I would love to redo that movie today, because so many things have become easier. I know that I think we spent 2, maybe 3 weeks of doing AI work, and I know our AI coordinator was working his butt off. You know, I had to do some AI work for green screen for a movie that we did, and I'll tell you what, San, it was not easy. Like I would sit there and type out the prompt exactly like I want it, and then somehow it's nothing what I asked
Mhm.
for. And that was try after try after try after try. So I can only imagine when you're doing something as complicated as turning a human into a wolf. to have a character consistency of, you know, Rebecca always turning into a white wolf. Is that white wolf always going to look the same, or is it going to be different? You know, that kind of thing. And yeah, I want to say
It's
that was very tough. That was very hard. And I think it turned out okay.
yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it. But I'm also a very harsh self-critic.
I think that's totally understandable. I think a lot of people have that.
Yeah.
Me too. So you're not alone.
It's, it's one of those things. It's yeah, we're hard on ourselves because we see something different, you know. I'm sure making your flyers and your website, you're like, I can make that better. I know I can. And then you keep on going, you're like, it was better before. Yeah.
For example, with the interviews also.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so bad. I'm so bad at this.
No, you're really good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Du- 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 du. What or who inspired you to do this, like the film film industry?
In general
Yeah,
or
in
in
general.
verticals?
No, in
In
general.
general? So when I was a kid, my favorite movie was, I always get the name wrong. Um, because I'll either say the book or I'll say the movie. Anyways, I'll just say it. What inspired me to get into film was a couple things. Uh, when I was a kid, I had a favorite movie, and it was Gene Wilder's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It was just one of those things that somehow you just got transported into this world. You felt like you were there. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Um, but it was just one of those things. It's like, this is an amazing story. I loved this book. And, seeing it come to life from the page to the screen. Of course, Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka was completely different from the book. I mean, it held its idea, but it was not the same.
Mm.
But there was just something about it that just made me love this Black Mirror. I love this TV. It just transported me. And that really got me excited into the idea of working in film. And then it was when I got older, MTV became a thing and I started watching music videos and understanding that, you know, a story can be told in under 5 minutes from beginning to end, just following a song. And now we have visual to it. It amazed me. I was like, I have to do this. This is something I want to do. Uh, so I grew up, I started going to college, and I was a business major. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to be a theater performance major. And I went and I was training to be an actor. Uh, and I realized that I have a face for radio, and there's a lot more jobs on the other side of the camera. Um, so I started working in film. I was, like I said earlier, I started bartending, and then I got a job on set, and I was chasing the dream, and I finally landed here in Los Angeles, and finally coming to an apex of directing and shooting. I My past self would be very happy with me. And I'm glad that if I ever have that conversation, I can tell my past self, you will direct in your future.
And you do amazing. Du- du- du. Is there any places in the world you would love to go to that you haven't been? Probably yes, looking at your face.
So I've been a couple places. I haven't traveled that much, but where I have traveled has been some very religious experiences. And I don't mean religion, I just mean like soul finding,
Oh,
you know. Uh I've been to the base camp of Everest. Uh I've been to some small islands of Greece. Um and I've been to Paris. All the places I've been are absolutely wonderful. I want to go to Italy. My wife really wants to go to Italy, and I owe her that trip. Um, and I know that that would be an amazing adventure. Uh, I want to go to London. I've never been to England. I'd love to go to Newfoundland. And yeah, I think those are the main places that I'd like to go. And Japan. I'd love to go to Japan.
Italy is really beautiful.
Uh,
Everything you do before you filming starts on set days.
so what I tend to like to do, of course, are you talking day by day or the project in general?
Let's say day by day.
Day by day. So we'll get what's called the call sheet, and that's basically a breakdown of what the day is going to be, what the scenes are, who's going to be there, the crew, what times, what's for lunch. What I like to do is, no matter how many times I've read the script, I tend to read the script at least 200 times, and break it all down and try and figure out the bits and pieces of what we're doing. And I have my little notes in my script. What I like to do is go through each scene that we're shooting, go through it, look at my shot list, figure out if there's something that I'm missing, you know, and really take a fine tooth comb so I can do my best to get us out on time, if not earlier, because it's all about in the speed that we have to do things. I don't have time to think.
Mhm.
I just want to be able to look at my script. I want to look at my notes and be like, okay, this is the slow mo shot. This is the push in shot. This is where, we pour maggots all over you, blah, 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 blah. And I want to have all that thought out and perfect. Typically, that doesn't happen, but at least I do read through the scenes and make sure I'm ready for the day.
Mm. If you could choose a existing show or movie that's right now on the TVs to direct, which one would you pick?
What have I been watching lately? Um, we were watching a show. Oh man, I end up always falling asleep just because I'm just tired throughout the day. Uh, that's a great question. That's a really good question, Sam. Um, oh, so if there was something that I'd like to direct these days, that's hmm. So if I wanted to direct a show that's currently on television or movie on the screen, um, I think it would be Fallout. I loved that whole series. So it's it's a video game that they made into a TV show.
Mhm.
It's currently on Amazon. Uh, and they've done such a wonderful job translating that from video game to television. And it doesn't feel like a video game. I don't feel like I'm watching something that was a video game. The story's great, and it hints at all the lore that was created with the video game series. That video game series has been going since, I want to say, the late 90s. And right now there are Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 2, 3, 4, 76. I think there's been 5 video games, and then there's one on the mobile. Yeah, it's great. Like it hits all the fantasy tropes, like post-apocalyptic. Um, the idea of there's monsters and there's ghouls, and there's still a love story of trying to find a missed connection. um there's bad guys, there's everything that you could want. There's gunfights, there's I don't think there's been a chase yet, but there's big robot suits. It really lets you be creative and play pretend and really use those creative muscles that you don't get to use. So yeah, if I got to direct something that's on mainstream TV, Fallout, absolutely.
That's a good choice.
Let's see one.
I have one, two, three more questions.
Yeah.
What is something you still hope to achieve, like in the future?
Hmm. Something that I'd like to achieve in the future, in the film world or in general.
Whatever you want to tell me.
uh let's see. I guess in general, just a happy, fulfilled life, you know, and that that's such a broad answer. I don't think that's a fair answer. Uh,
No, that's totally understandable. I think everyone wants a happy life.
yeah. Uh, so yeah, I think in a general kind of standing, I'd like to achieve, a happy, stress-free life. But I think that's an answer that everybody can say. Also, uh, I'd like to keep creating and keep other people. No, I'd like to keep creating and making sure that people can find something that inspires them. Whether it be something that I shoot or something that I direct or just something that I create, what I write. And it's not about uh, me being a part of it. It's the thought that somebody was inspired to progress their life.
Yeah,
you know whether it's something I say or something I do or just a thought that I put out in the universe. If somebody catches it and gets inspired by it, I think that's something that I would like to achieve. Keeping the spark alive.
that's really beautiful. Then I have, what is for you the biggest difference between verticals and the other work that you have done?
What's the biggest difference that I've noticed?
Yeah.
So working in traditional film for, I guess, 24 years, and now 2 years in the vertical world. uh, I think the biggest difference is speed and quality. Uh, Now, the content that we create is what it is. We all know it's completely different. We know that you can't really compare the two. It's apples and oranges. Uh, but it's also a personal choice, right? Uh, the biggest difference I see is speed and quality. Not to say it's better or worse, but it's just different.
Mhm.
We'll still enjoy it. You know, uh, people enjoyed Breaking Bad. People enjoyed Taming the Silver Fox. It's uh, what's the word? It's subjective. The idea of is this better or is that better? What's the difference? It's all subjective.
Yeah.
Like I've worked with a lot of people uh, in the industry, and then when I started working on these, they were like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" I was like, "For one, it's a job and I'm getting paid, but plus I get to be creative." I didn't join film just to have a job. It's not just a job for me. It's it's creating stuff that people want to watch,
Yeah.
you know, and I got lucky with a lot of the stuff that I have worked on that people are really ecstatic that I worked on it. Like, you know, uh, working on, Modern Family and Always Sunny and Dark Knight and Public Enemy and Wanted, all those shows were somebody's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Somebody watched that and was like, I really want to create, I really want to uh, I want to work in the film business. That inspired people. So it goes back to that other question. Um, and then working in the vertical world, we're at the beginning of a format. This vertical format is so brand new that we don't we can't say what the difference is because we don't know who we are yet. It's just like when TV first came out, we just had radio and stage, and we had theater, or the movie theater. So you had radio and the movie theater and the stage. And then as soon as we brought in TV, they were like, nobody wants to sit at home and watch their TV. That's crazy. Why would they want to do that? So we're at that same point of creating something that people in the future are going to be like, where did this come from? Like, when did this start? And they're going to come back and they're going to see all the internet files of San interviewing all these actors and actresses and directors and everybody. And they're going to be like, oh, this was the beginning. And, you know, that's what the difference is.
Yeah.
Traditional Hollywood has been around for 100 years. We're babies. That's the difference. We'll be grown-ups one day and it will be an acceptable format, depending how mobile content changes. um yeah, that's the difference. We're just not complete yet.
And then I have as ending question. I
Mhm.
always like to end with it, and that is, do you maybe want to say something to the vertical fans, or just me in general, or whatever you want to say as ending?
Yeah, of course. Sam, thank you so much for this interview. It's been an absolute pleasure, and your questions were amazing. I would like to add that you had just asked me what's the difference between traditional Hollywood and the vertisphere is what I like to call it. Um, it wouldn't exist without the fans. You guys have been so loud and telling us everything that you want and everything that you know because we are at the beginning, we have to understand what the fans want. It's not about data, it's not about the clicks, it's about what you have to say, and we're slowly listening. Uh, I've got a small little following on TikTok, and I'm slowly asking people what they want.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want? And a lot of it's all the same stuff. And slowly it's changing. We promise it is slowly changing. We're trying to take out the slaps. We're trying to take away a lot of the extreme stuff that shouldn't be involved because it's a rage bait kind of hook to bring you in. I don't like it. There was one movie that I worked on that I had to change a lot so it didn't seem so extreme. Uh, but we're listening and we appreciate you guys so much. I cannot thank you guys enough for being such strong fans because without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. You guys are keeping this industry going right now. So please keep writing in, keep talking, keep making your videos, keep telling us what you want. You're going to get it. I promise. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That were all my questions. I want to thank you for this great talk, and I learned so much in just almost an hour.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect. Bye, Sana.